The world is in our head. Now, this is going to be different, right? Because I talk about how the world is in our head, how real this is. The world, we see the world through the eyes of the foundation of our mind, of our minds, right? The world is in our head, right? If the world is in our head, that means what we are experiencing, our perception, right, is our reality. Perception is reality, right? Our perception of the world, our perception of what's going on, what we think is going on, our conclusions, our labels, our judgment on what's going on, that becomes our reality, right? So now you're living this life, and I laugh about it. I laugh about it because I can just imagine telling Anthony when he was 18 years old, living in the Bronx, looking to dive into himself, that the world is in your head, and then me just responding like, what are you talking about? Like, this is what's happening, this is what's going on, this is what's the problem, right? And if you can look at, if someone were to tell me that, I'd be like, fuck, like, what do you mean the world? Like I'll be so confused, right? But the world is in our minds. That means this reality right now, it really doesn't have to be this way if we didn't want it to be this way, right? We can make an adjustment. We can make one move that will completely change it all. But how can we understand that if literally we're viewing the world through the eyes of our deep levels of conditioning? How do we understand that if we're viewing the world through the eyes of our deep, we're talking about deep levels of conditioning on how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about the world, right? How we feel about those around us, the conclusions and judgments and assumptions we make in life. Like we assume that we know certain things, and how easily manipulated we can lie to ourselves about life. We could just easily lie to ourselves, right? Just think about it. Think about how easy it is to lie to ourselves. Just think about it. How easy you can be like, oh, how many times you said, oh, I thought that was this, or oh, I thought that was, oh, I didn't know, oh, I made a mistake. I assumed that it was this and it was completely something else, right? So now we have this whole reality in our minds of what's going on about life, about our own life. Now, knowing that we have that ability to lie to ourselves, knowing that we have the ability to create what we think is happening in our life, our perception is reality. How can we question ourselves to the point where we are well grounded to the truth, right? How can we question ourselves to the point where we're like, okay, am I seeing what is or what I wish it was? And that right there, it takes understanding oneself, right? Taking control of the things you have control of. Taking control over the things, how you respond to things. Picking up how one moment you can just decide and you can say, yeah, if I want to, I can do what's healthiest for my body and mind. Or I don't have to do what's healthiest for my body and mind. At one moment, you could pick up and say, I can eat this food, or I can eat that food, right? At one moment, we can say, oh, I can live here, or I can live there. Literally, we can make any decision that will put us in a different position in life if we wanted to. Every decision that we make, again, is backed by what we prioritize and who we are. But our perception is our reality. Is it actuality? It's not, right? It's not actuality, but it's our reality. The difference between reality is we all have different realities, and actuality is what is. And life is our perspective on what is. Can we see what is? Not what I wish it was, not what I hope it to be, not what I think it to be, not what I believe it to be, but can I see what it actually is? And as I say that, it's like, okay, Anthony, like, how does this make sense at all? And I can just imagine, I think about myself, right? Sitting down, a lot of things going on in my life, a lot of fears that I'm unwilling to address, a lot of things about me that I've just, like, the entire fucking world is in my mind. And how every single human being is seeing the world from a totally different perspective. This is your story. That's your story. That's your story. And then there's the truth, right? You know how they say there's 3 sides to the story? There, like one side and the other side, and then there's the truth. But it's interesting how one's perception on what's going on and how that is creating the results and the experience and the life that they're living now, that we're all living now, right? So if we understand that perception is reality, that the world literally doesn't have to be this way, like in your mind. But then we can say, okay, how do I know that I'm lying to myself when it's so fucking easy to lie to yourself? How easy it is to lie to yourself. How do I know? Do we see that, fam? How like, okay, so we're like, okay, our perception is reality, how easy it is to lie to ourselves, how easy it is to make assumptions, how easy it is to have judgment, how easy it is to live in fear, to create all these fears of what you think is going to happen, how complex the mind is. So now we're like, okay, how do we know what is, right? How do we know what is? How do we focus on what is? How do we focus on the truth about ourselves, right? So look, we're breaking down this process, right, of a mind that understands that it has the ability to create illusions. This is a mind that understands that I have the ability to create whatever it is I want to create, right? And that includes all of my fears. That includes everything that I believe. That includes everything that I assume, I judge, all of these things. How my mind, I convince myself, yo, this is my truth. People say, this is my truth. But there is no my truth, your truth, their truth. There is the truth, and then there's your reality and your perception on what is true, right? So how do we see what is? How do we see what is? How do we see what is? How do we see the facts about ourselves? How do we see the facts about this world? How do we see the facts? And the way you do it is you stay curious. The way you do it is you question. The way you do it, you observe. The way you do it is you learn how to think, not just be told what to think, right? And these are things that if you're not interested, of course you can't, you're just not going to dive into it, right? If you're not interested, you're just not going to dive into it. It just doesn't make sense, right? Like it just doesn't make sense if you're not interested. But when you're interested, you're very aware, you're very clear, you're very alert, you're sharp. The mind is sharp when it questions. The mind is sharp when it's curious. The mind is sharp when it wants to understand what is true, right? So if we're looking at this world, right? If we're looking at our life, hopefully you guys are following me here. Don't take my word for it. When I say that, perceptions and reality, the world is in our head, don't take my word for it. Just look at it. How many times have you just assumed things and it did not turn out to be, right? How you thought it was something based on everything that convinced you that this is what it was, this is what it is, and it did not come out to be. Think about it. Yo, I did all these moves, I did all this, it did not happen. Like this is what I thought, I assumed. Whether it's positive or negative, you judge that, you create that, right? You label that. I label this positive, I label this negative. Whatever you label it, just think about it. So how easy it is that you can convince yourself. You can convince yourself, and I go like this, and I go like this in my brain, how you can literally, based on your perception, your conditioning, what you want to believe, what you wish it was, what you hope it to be, what you wish, like all of this stuff, you literally altered what you saw. There is truth, and then there's your perception on the truth, and then you alter what you see to fit and mold what you wish it was. Do we see this? Because I can see it. I don't know if you see it, but I can see it. How we literally, there's what is and our perception of what is, and then we will alter what we see to fit within what we want it to be. So we look for signs and we look for things, and that includes our fears. That includes everything that, we think is positive and everything that we think is negative. This includes everything about the mind. Everything that we label good, bad, right, or wrong, we want to mold it and see it based on how we want to see it, right? So how complex is the brain? How insane is first of all, how amazing is the brain? How amazing is the brain? How we're able to do certain things within ourselves that we can literally lie to ourselves. We can literally change our mentality instantly. Like, change can happen instantly, but I don't want it to happen instantly because it puts an end to everything that I know. Change happens instantly, but I don't want it to happen instantly because it will put an end to everything that I know. So, like, I want this 2-year process. I want this, it's okay to take time to do this. It takes time to do that. It's okay. 5-year plan. I get it. Change happens instantly based on a perspective change. If I change my perspective, it changes my experience. Do we see that? It's like we alter it to fit our narrative so we don't have to change. 100,000%. I don't want to change. Right? Because change means putting an end to the known. Like, change means, change. Okay, this is great. When we look at this, I'm exactly where I want to be. We're all exactly where we want to be. Because the moment that we don't want to be in a position, we're out of it. Just think about that, right? Like, right now, you're exactly where you want to be. The moment that you don't want to be in this position, you're out. So I'm exactly where I want to be at this moment. Like, at this very second, right? We're all exactly where we want to be. Let's not label it good, bad, right, or wrong. Let's not label it success, this. Let's not label that. Let's just look at the moves we made, who we are, our decisions, all of these things. Everything about us is where we want to be, because where we are is the safest position for us, right? This is my safest position with all the chaos that's happening around me, which is in my perception of what chaos is, right? My perception on what's going on based on how prepared I am, based on my education, what I mean by education is how my level of awareness, right? My level of awareness, what I think I know, what I think I don't know, all of these things that make up my mind is, there's chaos. There's this going on in this world, and there's that going on, and look what's around me. So this position that we're in, everything about us, this is exactly where we want to be psychologically. So if I say that this, no matter how much I complain about how miserable my life is, right? Or how, whatever the position I'm in, at the end of the day, if it's misery, it's still the known misery, right? So let's say I'm miserable. It's the known misery, right? Yes, this car is this big, right? Yes, this is a small vehicle, sports luxury vehicle. Yes. But because it's not a mansion. However, at least I know this car inside out. You get what I'm saying? At least I know this car inside out. I know every part of it. Yes, I'm in a psychological box, but at least I know the 4 walls. And that's what people say in their minds. Yes, I'm struggling, I'm in misery, but at least I know how to survive. At least at least I'm comfortable within the misery. Yes, it's a struggle, but I'm pushing through. I've created a life where I know every part of this vehicle. Yes, this vehicle has limitations, but I know every part of the limitation. So think about it. If I'm in this, because again, if I created all of these things in my mind, all of these limitations in my mind, the world is in my head, perception is my reality, not actuality, my reality. And I'm exactly where I want to be, then the thought of change puts me into the unknown. If all I know is this vehicle, the moment you put me in another vehicle, the moment you put me somewhere else, the moment you take me out this vehicle, I don't know what I'm doing, right? I'm like, oh shit, okay, whoa. There's alertness, there's awareness, there's interest. I have to observe, I have to use part of the brain that allows me to figure things out. But once I stay in this vehicle for so long, what happens? The mind becomes dull. Think about it. I know this vehicle inside out, so I'm no longer interested in this vehicle. I don't know if you guys are following this, but give me a second. I don't know if you guys following this, but this is epic. This is fucking epic. I'm no longer interested in this vehicle, right? I'm no longer interested within this limitation. The mind becomes dull because there's no, I assume I already know. Do we see that? Like, I assume that I already know. I assume that I know. I know this, right? Like, I know this. So because I know this, I assume I know this already. I'm not interested in it anymore. I'm not looking at it. I know this already. Yeah, of course. I know how many dots or holes are on here. Like, I know that. Because I know, oh yeah, that's 100 something dots. Yeah, I counted that already a long time ago. Because I assume I already know, I'm not interested. I'm not alert. The mind becomes sluggish. The mind becomes dull. I overlook certain things. Like, I overlooked certain things. I live in assumptions. I live in conclusions. I already know. Yeah, the shit in the back seat. I already know that. I'm not interested anymore. I already know. And the moment you say, I already know, the mind becomes dull. But put me in another car. What happens? Put me outside. What happens? Put me in another vehicle. What happens? I'm like, oh shit. Okay. What? Okay. How do you turn this car on? How do I do this? There's interest, there's alertness, there's this. If I don't want that, right? That's what change is. Yes, this is limitation, and this is whatever label I say, I'm miserable, I'm this, right? I'm deciding to be in this position. I'm deciding to stay in the same place. My perception of what's going on becomes my reality, my assumptions, my judgments about life. Think about how dead the mind is. Think about how dead the mind is when you assume you already know. Think about how dead the mind is when you're not even interested. Think about how autopilot it is. You know, I have my car for 11 years and I just turn it on and I just know how it works and then that's it. I'm not looking at the buttons. I'm not interested in the system anymore. I'm not pressing the buttons. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking at, I already know. Because I already know, my mind overlooks it. I already know. So now you have people living their life this way, where I already know what's going to happen. I do this, I do that. I already know about life. I already know about that. I already know myself, so they say. I already know myself. So now the mind becomes sluggish. The mind becomes dull. I'm not interested. Now I'm not prepared for whatever happens. Now saying change. If I change my perception, if I realize that my life is not in this vehicle only. If I realize that life is not in this vehicle, that there's so much more, that there's so much more to life than this vehicle, what happens? My perception on life starts to change. I'm jumping into the unknown. I'm observing. I'm alert. I'm aware, right? And I'm using the vehicle as a form of limitation, right? Like, my life is not in this vehicle, but people stay within this vehicle, right? It's so limited. It's so small. It's so you can't do shit, right? You can't lay down. Like, I'm so limited. But there's a whole fucking world. There's so many things that you can do. However, all I know is this limitation. It's like growing up in the hood. Right? Growing up where I grew up in the Bronx. Growing up there, the communities of this is our culture. This is how we do things. right? This is what we do. This is all I know. And I had a meeting yesterday where we were talking about, I had a client that went to the Bronx, and they were like, dude, I went to the Bronx for the first time. And like, it was so dirty. There's things on the floor. Like, how do people live like that? And I was thinking, I was like, well, that's all we knew at that time. Like, well, for me, I'm saying when I used to live there, it's like, that's all I knew. Like, that's all, like, it is what it is. This is, to me, throwing like, they were saying how, the trash on the floor is all over the place, just New York City in general, right? Throwing the cup on the floor is what you just did. You know what I'm saying? Like, throwing as a kid, I get a piece of paper and then just, a bubblegum wrap, and you just throw the paper on the floor. You know what I'm saying? And then like how dirty everything is because, this is what I've accepted. This is all we know. This is our limitation. So being in that environment, I'm not saying that's good, that's bad, that's right, that's wrong, is, parenting and then your parent. Let's not even get into that. We're saying just the environment and the culture, what it allows, right? How there can be fear and we just all accept our fears. How there could be shootings and killings and this and this. All we can say is don't go out at night. Don't do this. Don't go around the corner. We're not looking for the solution. We're looking for the best escape. We're not looking for the solution. We're looking for the best. Don't go around the corner because that block, dangerous. That block is crazy. That block. Don't go through that block. That's just crazy. Don't go in there. Somebody got robbed. Don't go in there. And okay, cool. So we accept the fears. We stay within this environment. Now everybody's moving, calculating, like they're calculated, like, okay, I'm excited. Instead of looking, what's the solution to this, right? What's the solution to this? What can we do? Is there a solution to this, right? But when an environment just accepts, when you just accept who you are, where you are, when you just accept in certain areas, I'm not just dissing the whole Bronx. I'm saying when you just accept that and that's all you know, then your perception becomes that reality. I'm growing up, I'm thinking this is the greatest city in the world, right? I'm growing up in New York. I live in Jersey now, by the way. I'm saying, like, growing up in New York, I'm thinking that's the greatest city. That's the greatest. The Bronx, I'm staying here for life. This is the block. I ain't leaving the block for nobody. These are my boys. I've been here. This is my shit. Like, I'm only here. It's all I know. This is all I knew. So my perception, the world is in my head, and I'm thinking the world is how it is on my block. Like, isn't that interesting, right? Like, it's just, so now that comes with a culture, that comes with a belief, that comes with a way of being, that comes with an accent. You know what I'm saying? That comes with an accent. That comes with a, some of you guys will get that. That comes with just, this is the type of food I eat. This is the type of culture I follow. This is the type of things that I watch on television. This is the type of things that I listen to. So it comes with this conditioning that then molds how I view the world. Which means if I were to question my own conditioning, if I were to question my own conditioning, question my own self, if everything about me is getting me the results I'm getting now, doesn't it make sense to question myself in a real way? Not, oh man, I question myself if I can do this or not, or I question myself if I'm able. No. Question yourself and saying, yo, man, if the world is in my head and I'm going through all these problems, then I am the problem and I'm the solution to this problem. If I'm creating all these problems, if all of this is happening around me, then I'm the problem and then I'm creating the solution to this problem. So if I'm the problem, then what's the problem? Like, it's me. Okay, but what about me is the problem? And the moment that you can see that, the moment that you see that for yourself, the moment that you dive into that yourself, the moment you understand that perception is your reality, it's not actuality, right? So a lot of shit that you think is going on and a lot of shit that you think is happening, it's all happening because of who you are and how you view in the situation. Man, I don't know. It's your perception on what is. Life is your perception on what is. And if you can see that, then now you wouldn't, you'd be like, yo, you would question yourself, yo, doesn't have to be this way. Does it have to be this way? It doesn't. Do I have to make this amount of money? It doesn't. Do I have to be in this situation? I don't. But all I know is this car. All I know is this limitation. All I know is being in here. Now to step out of this car and go somewhere else? Step out of this car for the first time. The world's so big. To step out of this vehicle, to get in another vehicle? Like, what am I doing? What's going on? And that right there is why people will refuse to step out of the vehicle, right? Again, this is my limitation. This is my world. All of this is my world. Everything about this is my world in here. To step out of this vehicle is like, you know what? Nah, look, you see that person? That person looks cold. I'm not stepping out of there. You see these people? Look, they're all struggling. I'm start making assumptions. I start justifying my situation on why these people, yo, you know what, man? These people, nah, I ain't doing that. Nah, what, to learn? Nah, I ain't doing it. I'm staying in here. But I'm miserable. I swear I'm miserable. I'm unhappy. You don't understand. I'm unhappy. But I'm staying in this vehicle. My fears, I've accepted it, and it's just the way it is. And when you accept these fears about yourself, when you do not question yourself, when you do not observe yourself, when you do not understand yourself, and I go like this in a small way, what happens is, the mind becomes dull, the mind becomes sluggish, and now life is happening to you. Now it doesn't matter what happens, because you have no intention to respond to it in a different way. You guys feeling this? Give me some fire emojis, fam. I hear what you're saying, and I also challenge the I'm the problem. Too many over-identify as the problem. And that makes it harder, in my opinion, to change. Okay. So let's challenge that. So if I say I'm the problem, I mean, if we're looking for an easier way to change, then that I can see why you would challenge that. But if we're just looking to change, period, then identifying with the problem leaves no room to escape from it. This is why when you identify with it, when you say I'm the problem, and you identify, you become one with the problem. You become one with yourself, as in, okay, what am I doing in a real way? Then there's no room to escape from it. You intensify it. And then your true intentions come out, right? On what it is that you want to do, what you prioritize. Let me scroll up a little bit. I love me, and thank you for this life, for you, not for others, and have to do no matter what. Okay. Sometimes you need to realize that you are the problem. Some believe that there is something inherently wrong with them or not enough. Right, but you see, that's the problem with belief, right? Because your belief is blinding you from truth. Like, you know, what if you don't What if you understood that your belief is blinding you from truth, right? So you saying, some believe that there is something wrong with them or they're not enough. It's like that belief, right? That belief comes from somewhere. It comes from deep levels of conditioning. Like, what does it mean to not be enough? What does it mean? Like, that doesn't, then you don't understand what it is. And I'm not saying you, I'm saying just a human, someone in that position doesn't understand what it means to be a human being, because it's still conditioned in a lot of ways. It has all these beliefs and these stories it bought into. But if it were to see that at any moment it can change, if it were to see that there's conditioning behind them, that there's deep levels of conditioning, then there's instant change, because he's like, oh, I'm not enough. But what does that mean to not be enough? To what? That's an illusion. Oh, something's really wrong with me, but something may be really wrong with you based on your perception and your perspective, right? Because you say it's wrong. So if you say it's wrong, No, but my brain, and I get what you're saying, my brain and the way it works and how it goes and how again, the world is in our mind. And that's why when I say these things, like, I get blown away. Like, even as I say this, I'm just like, the ears that are receiving it is dependent on who you are, your intentions, everything about you. It's like how you listen is also there. It's like I'm saying this, and then how one listens it's like, I don't know how people listen, right? And I'm not in control of that. But people are listening based on their perception of the world and all their deep levels of conditioning. Yeah, Anthony, I hear you, but I suffer from this and there's nothing I can do. Yeah, Anthony, I hear you, but that's not how it is, because the way, in my beliefs is like this. Anthony, I hear you, and there's just so much going on in one's mind. It's like, it's I can't even put it into words. Be honest with yourself to accept change in yourself. We are all enough. Depression and anxiety make you feel like you're not enough. And those are labels, right? Depression is a label, anxiety is a label. That's why we gotta dive into those things. What is depression without the label? How do we describe the process of depression? How do we describe the process of anxiety? And not just labeling these things. Again, the labels and the things that we accepted. I have depression, I have anxiety. It's like, but what are those things? Can you understand where those things come from? And can you understand what it really means to be that? Then everything changes. Like, everything changes. Anthony Minaya used to have depression. Anthony Minaya used to have anxiety. And I never studied it. I just labeled it. It's like, I was depressed because I was in a situation that felt permanent. I felt like I was in a permanent situation, but I wanted change, and there's nothing I can do. So I'm there wishing, hoping, believing. I hope things go change. I believe. Like, please. And I'm just talking to myself. I'm just there, but suffocated because I'm stuck. I feel stuck, right? But that's all in my mind. That was all in my mind. And this is why when I speak about these things, it's like I go into details on what it's like to say, oh, I have anxiety, I have all these things. Like, it's like I'm accepting these stories, I'm accepting these labels about myself. And then at that time, it's like, fuck, there's nothing I can do. I'm so lost, so confused. But when you start studying the process of these things, you start to see, wait, what is really going on? And you start to break away from limitations. You start breaking away from labels. You start breaking away and start challenging what you think is good, bad, right, or wrong. You start challenging what you think is right. You start challenging what you think these labels are. And when you challenge yourself, you break away and you see things from a fresh perspective. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to know. I tell people this because this was beautiful for me. And I say beautiful in a real way, that I put myself in the situation I'm in today. And that however conditioned I am, how I was, that to me was everything. That for me is like, wait, I put myself in this position? No. And no. Because I was born into this environment. You don't understand. My mom, my parents, you don't understand what it's like to grow up in the hood. That was the hardest thing for me to accept, right? That I put myself in this situation. No, like I would challenge myself on that. No. Because I went through these experiences I had no control of. You don't understand. I would fight that. But the moment that I actually saw that as a fact, that I put myself in this situation that I'm in today, the moment I saw that, how difficult it was to see that. Because I would fight that. I'm like, no, fuck out of here. Like, who you talking about? That's not true. The moment that I saw that, I started to become curious. Like, what? Let me see. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're hesitating a little bit, flinching a little bit. Like, what are you talking about? Let me see. Let me dive into it myself. Let me see. So I'm like angry because I'm thinking I put myself in this. No, you guys don't understand me, my story, my history, all this shit. You don't know, and I'm all hood and shit. You don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Yo, fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get it? Like, shit. You know what I'm saying? This was me. Yo, come on, man. You don't... Come on. What are you talking about? Like, you don't know what it's like to grow up this way. You don't know what it's like to be poor. You know, like poor, you hear the accent, poor, you know what I'm saying? You don't know, like, that was me. You don't know what it's like to go, just educate. Nah, you don't get it. Nobody gets it. Nobody, and it mad at nobody gets me. Nobody gets it. I'm the problem. I'm not the problem. It's all of you. Yo, that was me. But people think I'm making jokes. People think I'm joking right now. That was me. And that right there, the moment I started saying, hold on, let me put this down real quick. Let me take this off real quick. Let me see something. So you're telling me, and this is conversation I'm just having with myself and just things that I'm observing. You're telling me that I put myself in this situation because of the things just because of how I respond to things? The things that I'm willing to accept without question? Because I don't know how to think, I'm just accepted on what to think? My level of interest? The things that I consume? The people I'm around? I wasn't aware of that. But because I'm not aware of it, that still doesn't mean that it's not me. I wasn't aware of that. I'm still making these decisions. I'm still the one making these choices. I'm still the one that's accepting based on my conditioning wherever the psychological limitations that were passed down. Correct. Whatever the environment I was in, I was still the one who just said, fuck it. I accept it. But then there's always that voice inside. How does anyone change to begin with? How does anyone change? Or we secretly know, something's up, something's off. Something is off. People ask me, Anthony, what event got you to this point? I just knew something was off. Like, just off. Like, I felt off. I just felt like, this shit is... So this is, like, weird. Everything's weird. I started looking at people, like, weird. Like, I'm like, this is weird, dude. Like, this is, like, this whole thing is weird. Like, we care about that. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but it's just off. People are telling me I have this. People say, Anthony, you have a learning disability. You have ADHD. You can't learn right. I'm like, I can't learn right. Like, I feel off. Like, I'm like, okay, I have all these problems that people say I have. You have all these problems. And then I'm like, no, but like, why? Even as a kid, I'm saying, why do I have these? Why? Like, why do these people give me these like, why am I labeled with this? When I know myself where if I'm interested in something, I'm all in. Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm not interested in algebra, 2x times w squared. That's just not, because I'm not interested in it, I have a problem. So then I just started questioning. I'm like, yo, I'm fucked up. I'm fucked up because I'm just accepting all of this shit. And then that's why I was hesitating and fighting myself. Like, wait a minute, I can't be the problem. I can't be the, hold on. No. I can't be that. No. Nobody understands me. No. You know, you fight it a little bit. You don't understand my situation. I go through this, my justifying of why I'm in this situation I'm in. You don't know my history, how I grew up, and all this stuff is valid. In my mind, there's valid, I have a valid argument. Like, I have a valid, like, my argument is solidified. Like, yo, like, nah, you don't get it, man. Like, I'm over here questioning myself. Like, nah. Nah, you don't get it, man. Like, like, nah, you know, like, what you talking about? I got no money. Of course I eat McDonald's. Like, I got no money. What you want me to do? You want me to rob people? I'm not gonna rob. And I'm just fighting shit. I'm like fighting. Like, I'm making reasons to why I accept this. But it came to a point where I just said, okay, you know what? I've been doing shit this way for so long. It's got me the same results. What if I did things in a different way? Okay, I am the problem. How hard is that to admit? Fuck, like it stings. It was hurting. Man, it stings because I've been blaming everybody else for most of my life. Okay, I'm the problem. What about me is the problem? My perception, my acceptance on things, my judgment, my conclusions. All right, let me learn certain things about myself to see what is true. And day after day, month after month, year after year after year after year, until this point, there's a level of interest that's on another level, right? I have this level of interest in the understanding of oneself and how the mind works, and I can see why one's reality is based on their perception and how they view themselves and how they view the world. It's the world is in my head. Fuck, I've just been deeply conditioned, and whatever conditioning that I have, it's like, I'm getting the results that I deserve because who I am is producing and getting this result. And who I am, not as a human being, as who I think I am based on my perception and my level of conditioning. Because who I am as a human being, you will never say, I don't think I'm enough. As a human being, you will never say, I don't think I'm enough. I don't think I believe I can do it. I don't think, no, that's not a human being. Because we'll never be up to this point. We will never get up to this point if you saw yourself as a human being without all the conditioning, a human being that says, can you imagine a human being that's starving, that hasn't had food in days? Do you think when they see a buffalo in the beginning of time, like, nah, I'm not enough to do that? There's no choice. Like, I see this buffalo, I'm going to grab this buffalo and we're going to create a way to make it happen. You guys want to do this? Look, this buffalo right here, solid meat, fucking huge. It can make that shit sounded crazy, but it's solid piece of food, right? This is amazing. We could use this coat. We could use their coat. We could use, we could use so many things about this, right? We could use so many parts of this animal. Do you want to do this? Let's go. We haven't ate in days. Let's go. Can you imagine somebody saying, looking at the tree, there's a last apple on top of there, and this apple tree, like, look, I can't climb that. I'm not enough. It's like it's a human being. Like, see, the conditioning gets us to think The conditioning gets us to think that we're all different. In reality, we're all different based on our conditioning. In actuality, a human being is a human being. And if we can understand that, you can see, oh shit, it's based on my perception on what's going on. Because as a human being, you're built to solve problems. You're built to observe. You're built to adapt. You're built to adjust. You're built to make serious moves in your life. You guys feeling this? Give me some fire emojis. I want to know who's on here. Who's been on here for the last... How long it's been? Almost an hour. Give me some fire emojis if you're feeling this, fam. Some fire emojis. Cheers, everybody. Drinking the liquid facts. I see you. I see all of you. I see you. All right, cool, fam. Yo, listen, I appreciate you guys for being on. This has been a very stimulating live for sure. Just thinking about shit like this, just for me, it's just I love this shit, you know? People are like, yo, why should we listen to you? I'm like, I don't know. Don't listen to me, but I'm very interested. You know what I'm saying? Like, very, very, very interested. We've been conditioned to not know our power. And the power is the natural human power. The natural human power. Yo, to be a human being is so powerful. And if you want to control somebody, get them to not see themselves. Get them to not see themselves, right? So y'all want to control the human mind, how all of this is created. Everything that you see has been created because of the human mind. How powerful our mind is. And I don't want to use the word powerful. How real our mind is. On how amazing, how our ability to create we can create a whole world. Look, we created the financial system. We created the military. We created all these things, the medical fields. We created, housing and all these houses here. We created this whole system based on just straight illusions. Like just straight, let's go. We created the television screen. Can you imagine being dumped in the middle of a fucking forest? Can you imagine the beginning of time? Caveman type shit. Yo, we're going to create TVs. All right, go ahead, start. Yo, go ahead, start. Start creating create a TV in the middle of the fucking... Go ahead, use the land to create TV. Do you realize we use the tools on the land to create this car? The tools on the land to create... Like, we didn't go to Mars to grab some shit. Like, we didn't go to Mars to grab some shit. Like, yo, all right, let's go to Mars because the technology on this planet ain't got it. The internet? Yo, go ahead, go create the internet. Go to the desert and create the internet. Go ahead. I'll wait. Hold on. 2 seconds. I'll wait. Go ahead. Go to the desert or go to travel the world and create the internet. I'll wait. Go ahead. I'll wait. Go ahead and go to every state and look to start to create the internet by yourself. Just go ahead. I'm gonna create. Go ahead and travel and create a computer. How? How do you do the tools? How do you do it? How do you put how? Like how? How? Like how? 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 Because the mind is so powerful. Like, I don't want to use the word powerful. The mind is beyond, like, everything that's created was based on this, like how real that is. And that comes from what? Observing, awareness, adapting, adjusting, all these systems that we bought into. Look at the whole cryptocurrency type of stuff. Look at the whole thing that we just all created based on just, all right, let's just, like, we have all these, like, yo, we create holograms and we create all these things. Like, this is a human mind. This ain't no fucking, oh wow, we're different, like that alien mind, and that's a monster, and this person's from Pluto, like they got some other shit going on. No, we're the human mind, bro. How easily we can create all of this shit. Like, we create all this. Isn't that like, that's not interesting? Like, take away all your conditionings and all your perception on what you think you are, who you think you are, based on your reality and all those things, your cultures and the things, your systems you follow. If you take away all those things for a second and see yourself as a human being, you will see how remarkable this whole shit is. How we took a piece of land and we said, okay, you know what? We're gonna call this America. And then if you this is the system, how humans created it. Like, it's not real, yet we all accept it because we created this whole world. We saw this land that was just land, it's just this, and we named shit. Like, I don't know, man. Like, we just name shit. Like, we name it, like we name, like this is what it is, and we turn it into something, and then we confuse it with actuality. That's why people come into this world and they're jumping to this illusion, right? And they're confused on what it is to be a human being. It's like, okay, can you imagine someone being born today? For the next day after day after day, they're conditioned by the environment and their culture they're in. By the time they're 10 years old, they're conditioned by the environment, the culture, the flag, the religion, the this, the that, the this, the city. And now they're like, okay, what am I doing? Like I'm following all these systems, but they don't even know what it means to be a human being. Because you got a blind person who's lost and confused. We're talking about psychologically blind, who's educating their kid to also be psychologically blind. So it's the blind leading the blind. And then we have, okay, look, you're thrown into people don't even see themselves, and they're 20 years old, not seeing themselves, 30 years old, going a whole lifetime like, yo, I don't understand what I'm doing. And now the person who doesn't even understand themselves as a human being is the one who's labeling themselves. I have depression, I have anxiety, I have all these things, I have all these psychological problems. It's like, you don't even know yourself as a human being. Do you know the technology we created? Like, yo, go ahead. Go create a cell phone. I'll give you 2 seconds. Go ahead. Go create a cell phone. Go right now. Go create a cell. How does the idea that one person sat down and said, yo, you know what, man? I want to communicate. Like, let's put satellites in the, how do we do that? How? Because we observed and we looked to solve problems. That's the human mind. But we have all these conditionings that we don't see, that blind us from seeing ourselves, and we accept things and we do. I can go on forever, fam. I can go on forever. We label everything, nothing is real in all perspective in our own minds. Right. And if we can understand, I can go on forever. Listen, I'm going to end this right now because I got to go. But listen, if we can all understand that. So what does this mean? And I'll end it with this. What does this mean when I say, oh, it's all an illusion, If we can understand it's an illusion, like the things that we've named and all this and all these systems, if we can understand all these things in illusion, how do you play within the game? Not taking it in a way where it's so, like, you're so afraid to play the game. You're so afraid to, make money. You're afraid to start a business. You're afraid to put yourself out there. You're afraid to do a video on social media. You're afraid all this shit is fake. It's not saying, oh, this is an illusion. I'm going to go live in the middle of nowhere and live in the fucking mountains and fuck the illusion, fuck the system, and let's fight the system. No. Okay, you could do that. I mean, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Like, do that. And, wish you the best, right? I'm saying, okay, if this is an illusion, then why am I so afraid? Like, I have these, and I was going to say stupid ass fears, because it's not even real. It's like, it's not even real. It's not even real. So if it's not real, then why do I put it on a pedestal like my life is dependent on it? Well, just go do it. Like, just go create. Just go. Like, just go. Oh, I'm not enough. Oh, because you think this is some other shit. I get it. Oh, I got this problems, Anthony. You don't understand it. Okay. Oh, you think it's something else. Yeah, fine. Like, look, we live in an illusionary world. The great task in life is to see actuality. And that right there, if you can see actuality like you were as a kid, when you was 3 years old, 2 years old, before the conditioning, before all those things, when you was a kid, touching things, observing things, biting things, figuring things out, observing, aware, before the conditioning, before your parents, or if you're a parent, before you conditioned your kid to be a certain way, right? It's like, into this world where they formulate their before you're able to be told yes, no, good, bad, right, or wrong, you're observing for the first time. The kid doesn't know what it means to not just enjoy or not, doesn't know how to not live in truth. The kid doesn't know, like, we're talking about the kid before conditioning. We're talking about the 3-year-old, the 4-year, before you're like, no, bad, no, stop, don't do that. Before you condition them. Instead of them seeing it for themselves. Right? Before the conditioning, that mind is so fresh. That mind is so sharp. That mind is so aware. Right? It's just that right there is so, that mind is so fresh. How can we understand that 2-year-old, that 3-year-old is more free than majority of the people living today? And it starts off free. It starts off a blank slate, and then it's conditioned, slowly conditioned by what you believe to be true, your cultures, your music, your food, your environment, you got to go with this school, you got to go with this people, then the environment, and now this mind is growing up, never understanding itself. So now it's afraid of money. It's afraid to talk to people. I'm not enough. I'm not good. It's like, what the can you imagine? I'm mad hungry in the beginning of time, and I'm like this. Yeah, I'm not enough, bro. Like, I'm not enough to make it happen. Like, I'm mad hungry, and I'm talking to somebody. I'm in a cave right now, talking to somebody. But I'm talking in another language. And I'm saying translation. Yo, I'm not enough, man. Like, I don't think I'm enough to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I climb that. I don't know how we can do that. I don't know how. I haven't ate in decades. I don't know how I'm going to do it. It's like, no one's doing that, bro. We're like, yo, how we going to climb this shit? How are we going to do it? Can we do it? Do we have the human capability to do it? You know what I'm saying? That's what we would base everything off of. Do we have the human capability to do it? I can't go underwater, not because I don't think I'm good enough. I can't stay underwater for a certain amount of time because that's not what I do. Like, I breathe air, right? Underwater, it's like, fuck, to go deep underwater to grab some fish. It's like, we can't do that. We got to create another way, Like, we can do that for a few minutes, but we can't do that as a way of life. Like, I'm not a shark. You know what I'm saying? So now we start figuring out, how can I fish? How can I do this? How can I do that? We solve problems. No one's sitting in a cave, we ain't enough. It's like, do you think this is some other shit? Oh, you gotta believe in yourself. It's like, no, man, I don't. Like, I'm hungry and I'm just gonna go after it, dude. Do you want to do this? I'm willing to put my life on the line. You ready? And then everybody's like, yo, we out. We got no choice. There's no choice. There's no choice. There's no choice. Let's go. Let's do this. So my point being is this, and I know that I said I was going to end it like 10 minutes ago, but listen to me, and I'm super late right now, but it's cool. I mean, late like in my next move, but listen. If we can see that all of this is, and to wrap it all up, our perception is reality, right? The world is in our head. And if we can see that a lot of these things really don't actually matter, that fear is an illusion, that all of this stuff is not even legit, like all our minds is creating all these things, we would play within this game with so much. You just go. Like you just go. What do I want to do? And just go create, go do, go provide value to a world that is lost and confused. Go provide value to a world that doesn't understand itself. Go provide value to the world in a real way. Not just do what I'm doing. Not from what I'm doing. Like, you don't have to speak words and speak this. No, what products and what can you create? What can you do to get people to see themselves, right? Like, how can you provide value to this world? Yo, just go provide value to the world. Play the game. How much you want to make? Just go have fun with it. Like, have fun with that. Like, it's not real. Like, I don't know if I can make $20,000 a month or $10,000. That's not, I don't know. I never, that's something else, you know? Because you view it like it's something else. Instead of saying, yo, you know what, man? Fuck, I'm going to go make 20,000. What does it take to do that? It's a game. Let's figure it out. It's the game. Oh, this relationship has ended. This marriage has ended. It's like, yo, bro, come on, bro. Like, that's not even like, come on. Like, do we see that? Do we see why? Can we study why? Like, man, I can go on forever. I can go on forever. I love you guys. Last call of action. Give me some fire emojis if you had a lot of fun on this live and you got a lot of value from this. Give me the heart fire emojis. These. Let me know if you guys found this valuable. Oh, this is serious. I gotta go. So I'm serious. I'm out. Like I'm out. This will be up on YouTube later today too. I will put this up on YouTube. And I will let you guys know when it's up on my stories. You're welcome. I love it. Go have fun. Just do it, man. Just fucking do it. Just do it. It's not real. Just go. Fail, have fun, adapt, adjust, go. Just go. Thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you for being on. I'm just seeing who's on here. I'm just seeing the fire emojis. All right, fam. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a phenomenal day today. Love you guys. I'm posting this up. Go check out my awareness journal. Link is in my bio. Hit the link in my bio. Sign up for my awareness journal. Only $5 a month. I love you guys. Take care, God. Peace.